Welcome back to Königssee in Bavaria. It's the second day of competition, runs 3 and 4 for the Women's Bobsleigh World Championship at the 2017 BMW IBSF World Championships here in Germany. Hello everybody, I'm Martin Haven, alongside me John Morgan, getting ready for the third of 4 heats for the women's competition as we look at perhaps tightening up the contenders for our medals. And John, this Königssee track has produced a very tight race.
Well, Jamie Greubel, Poser, and Asia Evans in the first run, they were 5th at the end of the first run. You can see some light snow, rain following, and she had a problem up on top before curve 1, put her back in 5th position. She's one of the favorites to win the race, but she improved in the second heat. She moved with the best time in the second run, and she's in the 3rd position now, chasing down Kaylee Humphries, Melissa Lotholz. She didn't get the great starts that Kaylee and Lotholz usually get. They only had the 7th and 8th best starts, but as typical Kaylee Humphries does, she's down threatening for another gold medal. She's won 2 world championships and 2 Olympic titles. Everybody's chasing Alana, Meyers, Taylor, and her little brakeman Jones on the back, who have got awesome starts, the best starts. And Meyers Taylor has won the last 4 races, so this is no unfamiliar position for her to be in. The only difference was those races were World Cups. These are 4 heat races, 2 heats each day. You have to sleep on it overnight.
Alana's also won the last 2 races on this track. The previous winner was Kaylee Humphries. Jamie Greubel Poser was in the silver medal position behind Alana Meyers Taylor just 3 weeks ago in World Cup action on this track when Kaylee finished off the podium. But look at that, top 3 covered by 500s. Basically, you put the name in a hat, throw them up in the air. There's no way you can actually guarantee putting money on there for a winner. 21 sleds completed the day yesterday, including Chinese 19-year-old rookie Ying Qing. And she is in 20th place out of the 21 sleds. We will go first down to 21st in the 3rd heat, and then we will go with the fastest 20 in reverse order for the final run. Air temperature up to nearly 6 degrees, bit of blue sky overhead. There is Jamie Greubel Poser, fastest run in the 2nd heat, really turned around her fortunes, closing on Kaylee Humphries there, who you can see in her Canadian mittens, and Alana Meyers Taylor. And John, with 500s covering the top 3, it's anyone's race to win.
Yeah, someone's going to have to reach deep to pull out this World Championships. It's a no given for anybody.
Mariama Jamanka, you saw there with her brakewoman, that's her in the lurid top. She won the World Championship last year. There's Alana Meyers Taylor, and the reigning world champion with a different driver this year with Mariama Jamanka rather than Anja Schneider-Heinze. But Annika Dradzek just outside the top 3 at the moment with her driver. So here's our start order then. The leader goes first, and she only needs a reasonable run, really, to keep herself firmly in medal contention, and that could be said about any of the top 3. A couple of women looking for a bit of redemption. Mica McNeill went from 7th to 11th in the 2nd heat. She'll be looking for a bit more, and the Belgians want a lot more out of day 2. Second and deciding day of the 2017 BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Championship. Our overnight leader, Alana Meyers Taylor and Kerry Jones, getting ready to kick off the 2nd day of action in the last 4 heat race before the Olympic Games in Korea 12 months from now.
She only had the 5th best time of the 2nd run, and she's got a little history of this track. She crashed here the first week of the first practice heat this week, and she's crashed here a couple years ago.
Huge start, 5:13, ties the start record.
Wow. Well, that's what she does better than anybody. Anybody that goes with her seems like has a start track record, but Alana is that good of an athlete. Now the question is, can she steer down the track and extend her lead?
Not a bad run onto the bend away.
Her issues are with the exit of Kreisel, 112.4. Keep your eyes on that.
That's nearly 70 miles an hour, 69.8 onto the Kreisel. She picks up more speed down the labyrinth. Good run.
A good exit.
And she's passed her danger point on this track.
She's got one more time down this track to get through that danger zone with that type of start. 1:19.4, that's a big speed.
Yeah, 74.2 miles an hour and 50.86. That is a good run from her. That's half a second quicker than anything she managed yesterday, nearly 7/10 quicker.
7/6800ths quicker.
Yesterday it snowed, it rained. Today it's clear, all right, it's mild. There's her husband Nick on the back of the sled, but that's a great run from Alana.
That little pocket rocket she's got from Baylor University, Carrie Jones. I mean, look at this. The brakeman is so fast. Smallest athlete in the competition. Watch her get in and get down. I mean, there's no problem for her getting down there with some aerodynamic profile. And then down here, you know, Alana's got some issues with the track right here, but on this heat, she was perfect. Little back end, but good transition on the Kelstein. One more heat for Alana Meyers. That's quite a time to put down to have everybody else to go and come and chase.
Canada's Kaylee Humphries, double world champion, double Olympic champion, 0.02 of a second out of the lead. Top three in the first two heats covered by 500s. It's as close to a dead heat as you want to get.
She got beat by 1900ths in 2 heats yesterday.
Talked to Lyndon Rush yesterday after the race. I said, what happened to Kaylee and Melissa's start? He said, I have no idea, but they're hoping for better today.
Need low 20s. There's the low 20. But she's still 800ths behind like she was yesterday. 55.2 start speed, but, you know, she needs the perfect run to chase Meyers down. She's going to need 113 kilometer speed down there in Königssee. If there's anybody who can do it, it's the double Olympic and double world champion, Kaylee Humphries.
Listen, she knows about pressure in the big situation. She
Ooh,
knows how
huge
to
speed,
handle a
way bigger
race.
speed.
70.6, nearly a full mile an hour quicker than the American
Here
sled.
it comes. She's going to really chase her down here in the end. This is going to be right to the 100.
Can she take the lead? 1700s back, halfway down. It's down to 600s.
Right to the 100. Best speed. Right to the 100.
She was 200s behind. She is 300s behind. 100th of a second.
This is
slower.
like the Olympics. This is the same thing happened at the Olympics in 2014. And Alana Meyers went out to a big lead the first run. Kaylee got closer in the second run, chased her a little closer in the third run, passed her in the fourth run. This is like deja vu.
All over again.
And the next athlete coming up was the athlete that was in third at the Olympic Games. Wow, this is some exciting bobsled racing. Kaylee with a deficient start, but she drives down the track as good as anybody in the field. Look at the airborne runner there in the transition. That's the norm of what we've been seeing here. They cut the ice a little bit different than it was 3 weeks ago from what we're hearing from the athletes.
Kaylee Humphries knows about the big situation. You don't accidentally win 2 straight Olympic titles. 1 heat to go for these women after this. And we will have our medalists decided before 6 o'clock local time. Here's Jamie Greubel poser, fastest sled in the second heat. So she dragged herself up from 5th place right into medal contention with her fellow Olympic bronze medalist Asia Evans. This team is as good as they come in terms of coordination.
Watch out if she gets in the teens here, her and Asia Evans. They're 520s yesterday. Evans, one of the bigger brakemen. She gets in, settles down. There's that 19. Start velocity. Second, 55.3, just a little bit better than Humphries, but Jamie Greubel really put down a smoking second run yesterday. Her problems in the first run was above the first curve, and she got through that.
Good exit onto the bend away, and that's what found her the speed yesterday, but a skid.
Her husband, Christian, is at the bottom of the track. He's a German athlete. He says he's more nervous for his wife here than he's been in any other world championship or Olympic event.
He's right beside our booth in the bleachers down at the finish. He said he didn't sleep a wink last night. He's got everything crossed.
This isn't good. That mistake she made up there in the bend away really cost her, seriously separated her from the other two.
She's going to have to find her way back into the medals. I don't see that being enough to hold on in 3rd place after this heat. Mariama Jamanka
opens the door.
Pounce now.
Yeah, it opens the door for Jamanka.
Well, she took silver here 3 weeks ago behind Alana Myers-Taylor, US 1-2. But that exit out of S4 onto the bend away, that's what she'll be seeing in the replay, as we will, I'm sure.
Well, this is the norm to come through here. Hit once, but now she's got a skid going. 2 hits, 3 hits, 4th hit. Can't do that. 2 hits. Kaylee Humphries, and look at the difference in direction. Look at Alana Meyers, consistent line. That might have been related to the bad straightaway that Jamie Greubel poser had, because Alana was consistent through there.
Door is open then for Germany's Mariama Jamanka. Her brakewoman, Annika Dracek, won the World Championship last year, took silver the year before, both times with Anja Schneider. And this pair could be in the medals. German sleds are first and third in the men's contest after the first day of action. Canadians, by the way, second and fourth. If you haven't seen why, keep up. But a loose second run is what cost her an overnight medal spot. She needs to turn that around now.
She could. Her brakeman, Dracek, might be one of the best athletes in the field, if not the best. And she propels Jamanka down to these unbelievable starts.
5:20, just 100th away from Jamie Greubel poser. She was 1900ths behind the American sled after the first two heats.
Only her third year driving. She's got the least experience of the top 4 sleds, maybe the top 8 sleds. These are pretty good lines here, though. Speed, 111.7. That speed is off the mark.
Jamanka 7th in last year's Worlds, but she was 3rd here 3 weeks ago. Can she repeat that?
She's losing more time back to the field.
She is. She's losing time to Greubel poser, who wasn't that quick compared to the front two. It looks like we're now into a battle for the bronze medal between the USA and Germany. And a 51.12, only 300 slower than Jamie Greubel poser, but she was 2 tenths behind her before the start of this run.
Well,
So
just didn't have any
up.
speed. They had pretty good lines. Couldn't see where the loss of velocity was.
She's had such a good season this year.
Dracek gave her the start, the 5:20 start. Dracek, they say she is a female athletic freak. The way they tested her, when they saw her first in some track meet, Rennie Spies couldn't believe it. She was running hurdles, she was running sprints, she was doing field events. They got her under the bobsled track, and it's been only a positive. But you got to have a driver. Jamanka didn't take advantage of Jamie Greubel poser's mistake. She looks there, drift a little bit out of that finish straightaway. It opens the door here for Hengster.
Really does. Christina Hengster of Austria was only 300ths behind the German. 4th and 5th, the two of them were after the first heat. Hengster with Jen Onisanya, her brakewoman, second fastest second run, and she needs that now.
Well, she's capable. She's won medals on this track before. She's 4th in World Cup points and probably the most experienced driver in the field other than Kaylee Humphries.
And her brakewoman celebrates her 23rd birthday today. If they could somehow get into the medals, not only would that be redemption from Hengster after finishing only 6th at home last year in Innsbruck, but a great birthday present for a brakewoman.
Much better start. Still half second down, and there's the no-no. That's the same mistake that Jamie Greubel poser made. 111.7 is the same speed the German sled just had. And now she's going to be relegated probably to stay in 5th place. Not going to really take advantage of the door opening up from Greubel poser or Jamanka, the German driver.
It's going to be interesting to see if anybody can produce a faster run on this track as it gets
good speed on the bottom.
Harder and softer.
5600ths back.
Well, that was 300 slower than Mariama Jamanka, 600 slower than Jamie Greubel poser.
Yeah, it's going to be a reach for her, but she can still catch Jamanka, and if one of the top sleds has a mistake down there in the labyrinth, she could still medal.
Listen, after the day that Canada had, she needs to be having a look in the rearview mirror, because the next sled up comes from Canada, and they are on a high right now.
Well, one of the most experienced drivers in the field, and look at the transition of the sled. A little squared up, totally airborne there. It's so meticulous down there to get through that curve. What do you see to 4-man sleds?
A big smile as ever from Christina Hengster and birthday girl Jennifer Onisanya. But next up is Alicia Rissling. Alana Myers-Taylor leads from Kaylee Humphries and Jamie Greubel poser. First 5 of our 21 sleds down. I spoke to Riss just half an hour ago before the start. She's hoping for a good day today. She had a really strong day yesterday, and her Canadian teammates Justin Cripps and Nick Polagnato shocked everyone with their pace this morning.
Cripps didn't. Cripps we can sort of understand, but Polonato's never been in the top 10 in his career, and wow.
Well,
he smoked the field in both runs.
4th after first heat, only 8th fastest in the second run. Rissling's another really good runner.
Start. She's the best starting Canadian team. That's hard to believe. I would have bet against that.
Well, Humphries had a 21, they had a 22, so
overall
right in there.
3 heats.
So let's say already up to 5th on the splits. So she's picked off Christina Hengster right from the start. A good bend away, and she gets a good bend away. Little skiddy into Jena.
112, nope, doesn't get that 112 speed.
Very close, 69.5 miles an hour. Little wavy in the Kreisel. Good exit here, though, through the labyrinth. Still in 5th place. So Alicia Rissling looks like she's moving up the order.
Do a little tap. She's a little high in that Echo Von. 5th best speed on the bottom, and she's 6th overall, 51.24.
Oh, drifted away at the bottom, but a top 6 finish for Alicia Rissling. That would be a big result for her.
Yeah, she's top 5 in a couple events. North America 4th, I think, in the first event in her home track of Whistler, then 5th in Lake Placid, so good season for her. 1 hit. 2 hits, little skid of the back end, 3rd, 4th, because the front then the back hit. Look at the speed difference. Meyers Taylor went first, had the best ice to work with, and she took advantage of it. That tap, she got too high in Echo Von and tapped on that uphill section of the track that's lethal when you hit the uphill section of that track.
1 hit to go, Alicia Rissling. 1 run to go, Alicia Rissling lying 6th at the moment in the World Championships. What a story yesterday. Maria Oshigiri of Japan, first out of the start shed, really capitalized on that random draw advantage. She lay 7th overnight with 2 8th fastest runs. Now, bear in mind, this woman had not driven in the World Cup ever in her career before the start of the European leg of this season. The Japanese program has just exploded into life. And Maria Oshigiri, 1300s behind Cynthia Appia, has definitely got her eyes set on a big finish here for Japan.
Everything they've done is very, very consistent from their start times. Everything they, it's 10th best start in both runs. 7th best is expected here today, 5:32. So they're right in the middle where they started yesterday, driving a Swiss rented sled. They have a European coach, Hans Wimmer. This might be one of Wimmer's sleds.
That's a Citius.
But Wimmer, he's the first ever European coach in bobsled, skeleton, or luge that the Japanese have ever hired. And boy, has that produced some dividends on this team. Look at the speed. Yep. She's got better speed. The last 4 sleds been down the track.
A little skiddy through the bend away and a bit wavy through the Kreisel. But for her first ever World Championships, she responded with immense calm in the first day of action. And a top 10 would have been seen as a massive result for them. Wow. And she could well challenge for the top half dozen. 51.34, that's a 10th slower.
On the left.
10th slower than Alicia Rissling. So Rissling can breathe a sigh of relief, but Oshigiri has really shown just what potential she has.
We have a Chinese team coming up. We have 2 Korean teams that are not here. We'll see in Korea in 3 weeks. So now we have Asia, very competitive in women's bobsledding. Great to see. Her brakeman's a sprinter, 10-11-7 sprinter. In, down, good techniques, arms. She's been very consistent in everything. Look at her line here now compared to Alana Meyers, the leader. It's pretty consistent. Not much difference, half a kilometer and half, a meter and distance traveled through the Kreisel. Impressive, impressive.
Yeah, there is Maria Oshigiri. Next up is our second German sled. This is Kristen Zenkel. Got 2 Germans now, tied for 8th position. So this is your internecine battle of the German number 2 and 3 slider. Whoever comes out on top here will be the number 2.
She started late yesterday. She's a former brakeman that they've accelerated in the front seat, like all 3 of these girls that are driving for the Germans. She should eventually get some good starts. If she can eliminate mistakes like that, you're seeing a rookie right here. You're seeing a new driver that just takes a couple hundred trips before you start feeling comfortable, especially on a venue like Königssee.
Zenkel, a World Championship medal winning brakewoman.
doing pretty good here. Just had a
9
chance.
years old.
Fourth best speed in the bottom track. Still got some, even with all those mistakes she made. She ducks her head. 8th best time, 51.37. She's only 500ths back of Oshigiri, and she was 200ths back before this heat, so she lost ground to the Japanese sled.
Christina Hengster 4th in the Vancouver Games with Sandra Kiriasis. Now that though, this skid may open the door for her teammate and rival Stephanie Schneider.
Yeah, this is 4, 5, 6. There's another, she's got a couple more back end, front end, then another 4. She had about 8 hits right there. Then this is down. This was okay down here, decent speed down here for all the action she had up there in that bend away. Look at the climb onto the wall.
So Christina Hengster, little skid down the straight, but can her teammate capitalize? Stephanie Schneider next up at the top of the track, another former brake woman who has become a driver. 26-year-old, missed most of the season, crashed in training in Whistler, broke her collarbone, and on her return in Winterberg, re-injured herself with Lisa Marie Buchwitz.
She's got a lot of medals around her neck from being with Kathleen Martini and some of them other German stars.
European Championship bronze medalist on her first race this season.
And she's still got shoulder problems. They're talking about maybe surgery after the season. She, a couple whacks in Whistler, and then when they got to Winterberg, she crashed again after taking a month off, and they pulled her out of that race. And we just saw her come back into Innsbruck last week.
Bronze medalist in the World Championships 2 years ago with Schneider Heinze, the driver. So can she overhaul her teammate? At the moment, she is in front of Christina
Well, you
Hengster.
saw that little skier that caused that skid. Speed, 111.4.
She was up to 7th on the split. She was in front of Oshigiri as well. Very wavy Kreisel.
This is not a good line. Oh, she gets away with it. She came out of that Kreisel flat in those labyrinths and tried to cheat her way through there. There's no room for air. Look at the track start to melt a little bit. You see some water running down it?
She's dropped behind Oshigiri, and ninth. She drops behind Senkel as well at the bottom of the track.
Yeah, so everything's playing pretty much to chalk.
Yeah.
We've seen nobody move up in the whole field, right?
No, if you start your fastest first and everybody else has a deficit, then in theory, the lead gaps should grow, and that's exactly what we've seen.
Yeah, but some of these sleds are just a couple hundredths apart. There could be some change, but we haven't seen it.
Well, don't forget, in the final heat, they go in reverse order.
Hey, look at this skidder. Watch her try and steer around here. When she does that, look at the back end. You have to have a feather touch to get through there. That feather touch doesn't come. Look at the difference in the line. Look at Myers-Taylor and look at Schneider. It doesn't take a physics person to figure out that's not the fastest line through that curve.
Yeah. For the USA, Brittany Reinbolt, the third of their drivers. 4th fastest starts for her and Lauren Gibbs. Brittany has raced on this track precisely once before. That was in the World Cup 3 weeks ago. She says she needs some experience to try and beat the Germans in front of her.
Well, she had a much better second run than her first. 4th best start yesterday. 5:21, 4th best start. Great job. The velocity, 7. Surprised at that. She steered around that first curve. We'll see if that costs her.
Well, her 2 bogey points are the exit of the S's here onto the bend away, which everybody struggles with, and that's a good exit. And then if she can get a good exit of the Kreisel, she has a chance to start to climb the order.
111.7 is a little above the other sleds that she's challenging.
A little late off. That makes
a lot of the labyrinth.
Rough in the labyrinth. She was up to 9th place ahead of Stephanie Schneider, now 10th place on the splits.
Hard transition off the Eckelbahn. 7th best time of the run, still 10th. She does move up. She's only 200ths back of Schneider.
Yep, she closes right on Stephanie Schneider. She was 1500ths back. She's closed that to 200ths back.
Yeah, she's only 1300ths out of 7th.
Like you say, 8th fastest in the run, so she was quicker than the 2 German girls.
You would never know how she's doing because she just always has a big smile on her face. A little late here, flopping. Now look at she right to left. She uses a lot more of this You can't call it a curve. Look at how much ice grab there is there in the runners. Look how much friction, spray coming up. Yeah. You think it's easy getting through there?
Nope. Not for a minute. Yeah.
Lauren Gibbs, the volleyball player from Brown University, LA, California girl.
Jamie Greubel-Poser's family turned up unexpectedly yesterday here to support her. Lots of US support. Lots of support too for Great Britain. This is junior world champion Mica McNeill with Mika Moore behind her, the Welsh sprinter.
7th in the first run, 18th best time in the second run.
Yeah.
Boy, she had the coaches shaking their heads.
She was too. Talked to her a little while ago. She knows she just has to relax and the speed is there. But she looked so tense in the second heat.
Met her father, brother yesterday. Look how low she is on that calendar. They bring it up every time.
Well, that's their fastest start of the competition. They know the potential's there. They won in Europa Cup a couple of weeks ago. They won the Junior World Championships.
Europa Cup is the B Tour. The North American Cup is in the United States.
Good exit down the bend away. This is what she needed.
Much better run through here than yesterday, which was a disaster. Under 11.5s, not, really low, watch out here. That's not a good line, watch out. She's in trouble,
Drills the
watch
wall
out.
in the labyrinth
How
and
did she get through
just
there?
hangs on. That's exactly
How
how
did
the
she get
Russians
through there?
crashed.
How did she get through?
Wow, she tightened right up there and the line was all wrong out of the Kreisel. I think we might see that again. That's not the run she wanted.
She was so low, she was down flat in the Kreisel. We yelled, oh, then. And then she went back up, centrifugal force, then back down, and then back up and hits the wall, pushes her to the left side. Then she was in no man's land, and somebody up above was looking out for her because I don't know how this sled did not roll into that curve in Kelstein.
Just checking with Mika
Watch
that
this,
she's
watch
okay.
how low.
Gets such height
Watch
on the second
low,
pressure.
Back
Look at
up,
that.
look how high she is there. Then the sled back up, then back up in the outlet. She steers into the wall. Now watch this. She gets pushed way over to the right side of our screen. She's airborne. Then she gets pushed back over to the wrong side. She's late.
That's where the Russians went over.
Look at this. It's totally airborne. About 1,000 pounds there.
Look at Mika Moore's like 6 inches
out of the sled.
Do you know what? If the girls were the same size and weight of the Russians, the sled would have gone over.
How about those pictures? Misha.
Mish.
I would bless yourself.
One more to go. 11 sleds down, one narrow miss. Alana Meyers-Taylor leads by a cat's whisker. 11 down, 10 to go. This is Genevieve Chibo and Christine De Bruyne. De Bruyne, husband Ivo, I just passed him on the way up the track to talk to her. She's in a sled that they've rented from the French.
Red, white, and blue fits in very nice with that maple leaf. And we have a Quebecois,
yeah.
On the back in the breaking position. She's a rookie sevens player. Good lines. And just a minor mistake. She caught that wall and that way the straightaway bent around.
Tiny little bit of ice bump sticking out. Drags her then.
Speed's way up.
Exit the sled going through. That caused that huge skid, and she was rocky through the labyrinth as well. But again, Christine, very unfamiliar with this track. Hasn't had many races here in Europe.
See her moving up.
Well, Roman Heinrich loaned them the sled. That's a 51.45. That was 100th quicker than Mica McNeill managed, and so they are now tied for 11th. She was 100th behind. So Mica didn't actually lose a spot, but Christine De Bruyne catches her, and they are dead heat.
We have one tie so far. It won't be the last.
We had the German girls tied for 8th in the first heat. There's Christine. And next up is the Romanian, Maria Constantin, fellow driver and brakewoman Andrea Grecu on the back of the sled. Both of these girls have raced two-man during the course of the season. And Andrea always said it was the plan for her to come back on the sled as long as she was still the fastest brakewoman, which she is.
I think the Romanians only qualified one team into the, I don't know.
Yeah.
It has to be one team because they would have had two sleds.
But the rest of their team are here. They'll have two sleds in the teams competition.
Because they'll have two teams.
Yep. Well, they'll be part of two different international teams. One with Germany, one with Get possibly the USA.
Special spikes, 365 16th of an inch spikes on the bottom of them shoes, and they're sharp. That's how everybody can run across this ice surface. And it's a track spike just with all those little pricky.
Well, they were in a tight battle with Mica McNeill and Christine de Bruyne. There was only 500s covering the 3 sleds.
Good lines move. She had the same problem. But she corrected very nicely there.
And Maria Constantin was also tied to the 100th of a second with the Belgian.
This is good speed. This is a kilometer and a half better than the British and the Canadian sled that just came down in front of her.
She's still shown as 13th on the splits. We might have a 3-way tie. They were very close together. She was tied with Elfi Willemsen of Belgium. So they're a big bunch of sleds here. The second fastest speed.
That's something weird there. And she moves up.
Across the line, 10th fastest run.
We have 3 spots.
Yeah, she moves up ahead of Mica McNeill and Christine de Bruyne. 51.40 run. So that is, that was 10th fastest run. So she was 14th in the first heat, 10th fastest in the second, 10th fastest in the third. So Maria Constantin had her random run in the first heat.
Look at her, she tries to feather herself down this bend away, and she does pretty good. A couple normal hits, and then into the Echo Bond, and it's an uphill section here. The TV doesn't do it justice, but she's on the wrong side. Look at the water running down the straightaway there. That'll probably cool down the next half hour.
Well, temperature may drop, probably will drop in the next half hour. It's already 3:45 in the afternoon. Little sun there is will vanish soon. Elfi Willemsen of Belgium, the best of 2 Belgian sleds.
17th in the first run. Watch this stat. She was something she wanted to throw away. Second run, 6th. Wow.
Tied with Maria Constantin of Romania.
Her brakeman, Sarah Ertz, is probably the tallest female brakeman in the field.
And that's a much better start. They started 45, 40, and now 38.
Well, Elfi can drive. You know, when you have a deficient start, like we always mention, you have to hit the home run every time down. And she's capable, especially in 2 heat races. Look at these lines. This is what she does. Look at that. No one has feathered herself through like that, but she took too much of that Yetta curve. Speed isn't that good, but that's relative to the start.
Waving through the crowd. So she was 6th here 3 weeks ago in a World Cup race that was barely any deeper in terms of talent. Now she's struggling to make it into the top dozen. She's up to 12th place on the sprint times. 11th place on the splits. She's not going to catch Brittany Reinbolt on this run.
7th best time of the run. Boy, you throw away that first run for Elfi Willemsen, she'd be up in the top 10 easy.
Well, 51.3 is exactly what Brittany Reinbolt, who's in 10th place for the USA, produced on that run. So she has not closed at all on Reinbolt, but she's jumped 3 other sleds.
Yeah, she's only 10 hundredths out of the top 10 from Schneider. Some Belgians in the crowd. You know, Sarah Ertz is new to the program.
Yep.
Probably has to get a little bit more arm extension.
Brand new this season.
And then get in, look at the big long arms, and down with good aerodynamic profile, and look at the lines. Boy, 4 kilometers difference.
Wow.
Or 4 meters difference.
4 meters difference.
Surprised at that with Elfi. She finds the best lines through there.
Big group of school kids down here. They're on a skiing holiday from Belgium. Their teacher saw online that the World Championships included Belgian sleds, brought the whole class out. 40 kids are here to watch this show. Here's another Belgian sled. All 3 Belgian team sleds are in the race, but only 2 Belgian drivers. Katrin Beil had to borrow a sled from the Belgians after the Russians took away the one that she borrowed from them.
Yeah, she did pretty good in the first run yesterday. But nice walking up the track. She was going into the medical room at the finish building. What are you doing? She said, I'm getting a shot. I said, for what? She's my ribs. She's got a broken foot. She's going to get surgery afterwards, but she crashed earlier in the week. And she's got some rib problems.
Yeah, she only did 2 training runs, and the Russians took the sled away after that, so she had to beg, borrow, and steal. She'd never driven this sled at all until yesterday.
Race.
And I was saying to her just before the start, how is it? She said, it's kind of different. So anything she gets out of today is a big bonus. She was up to 12th on the splits.
15th best time at about a stake. She hit pretty good out of the Echo with her
Not going to move up.
11th best time, 15th overall.
It's not bad.
Second World Championships. Her mother, a 1988 Olympian for Austria in triple jump in Seoul, Korea. So she'll be going back to nearby where her mother competed.
Well, she'll land where
20 years ago.
Very near to where her mother competed.
30 years ago. Oh,
yeah.
29 years ago. Wow. Well, wasn't bad. Don't steer. Try and just take a couple hits. She took 4. And then watch this mistake. She's late on Echovon, and watch her come out of here hard. Bang. See that little exit? She tapped that front bunk, threw her over to the right side of our screen, and that's going uphill.
Gatis Goots there in charge of material down at the bottom. Former Latvian driver. Alana Meyers-Taylor with the lead of the race by a whisker. We've had 15 sleds down, 6 more to come. And here is Switzerland's Sabina Hafner. I was just talking to Sabina before the start of this heat, and her brakewomen, a pair of twins. I said, Evelyn and Rahel, who's the older? She said Evelyn, and then no, Martina Fontanive seemed to think that Rahel was the older by a couple of minutes. So whichever way it is, for the first time, we have twin sisters in the World Championship, one on either Swiss sled.
Good run in the first heat for Sabina. Second run, she was 17th, fell off the mark a little bit. She was pretty unhappy with that. She said she major mistakes in the S's. She got too high in the second S, which is tough to tell. Here's the first S, second S. How are you going to tell? Good, bad, or ugly, unless you're a coach that's seen 1,000 sleds come through. That's a great exit.
That's not ugly. Even we can tell that.
Nice. 112 speed would be great.
Double
there
tap.
It is.
112.2, 69.7 miles an hour. She was in 16th place after the first 2 heats. Can she move up? Katja Weil of Austria in front of her is 15th.
Perfect. Third best speed on the bottom. Is that true? Wow.
Yeah, carrying speed at the bottom.
And 10th best time of the run, only to 16th.
That is a good run, neat and tidy, and she has closed on Katrin Weil. She's now down to 300s away from the Austrian.
Yeah, there's a tie there for 13th, so she's only 400s out of 12.
Yep. So one good run in the final heat could move her up 4 or 5 spots, maybe.
Yeah, the brakeman's got to extend those arms and get the head up a little bit, more locked on the shoulder. She's bent over too much. New, she's only got this season. Good technique with her arms coming in the sled.
Well, actually, Evelyn hasn't pushed before in the World Cup. I think it was her sister Rahel who made a couple of starts before, and she's on the other Swiss sled. So here is our third Belgian sled, our second Belgian driver. Lien De Decker, who's been the third World Cup driver, is here as well. And her brakewoman, Nell Paulison, is on the back of this sled with Vannieuwenhuyse. Sophie Verkrijzen did something to her back getting out of the car the final day of practice. She can't feel her leg properly, and so she had to pull out the #1 Belgian brakewoman, and so they shuffled up the order.
A lot of wounded athletes walking around this venue. It's the end of the season. They've had about 200+ trips. They've been training since September. They've been going down on the ice since October. It's a long season, and they've got a couple more weeks to go.
It really is. I spoke to Sophie Verkrijzen earlier on. She's heartbroken. She said the day before the World Championships, I can't believe it. She's so gutted.
We know she can drive. She got 4th place at the opening World Cup in Whistler.
Former brakewoman. She started off braking for Elfi Willemsen. Of course, the whole Belgian project started in 2007 as a reality TV show. Yeah, the track is definitely getting harder. There's less glisten on it, and as ever, she ducks under the cowl.
Geez, you give her that 9th best time in a couple runs, and she's going to be up there in the top 12. She was
the track is
16th
getting
and
harder.
16th in both runs. She just posted the 9th best time.
Track's getting harder and faster. The refrigeration's on. The humidity is gone from the air. The temperature is coming down. And that means that everybody will be going in reverse, or in the final heat, the track will get quicker.
Okay, the chicane. Can you get it through here clean? That's as good a run as we've seen.
Good lines.
This is Kelstein, and then she hits the take-on out of Kelstein. That's going to cost her a little bit of time.
So Vannieuwenhuyse, Nell Paulsen. There's Sophie Verkreisen. She won't be lifting any sleds today. Russia's sole representative now is Alexandra Rodionova. After Nadezhda Sergeva dramatically crashed out in the first run of the competition. Holding the sled, Victoria Tokovaya. She knows a thing or two about responding under pressure. World Championship and Olympic Championship driver for Russia.
Well, there's no positive atmosphere for the Russians in the last 2 days here. Their men's team at 14th and 16th. And then their top Russian female driver crashed out yesterday. And Rodionova, what's she doing back here in this position? Yeah. She's a top 6 World Cup points.
The Russians are struggling at the moment.
She got 7th here in this race just 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So something going on. But positive, I think a Russian just won the World Cup Women's Luge event in Pyeongchang.
Well, yeah.
We just watched that this morning, the new track. Watched our first races from there.
Sergeva and Rodionova were 5th and 7th here 3 weeks ago in a World Cup field. And again, it was barely any different in terms of talent at the top. And yet here, they're crashed out and 17th after the end of day one.
And the 2 men's teams aren't doing any better.
All 3 men's teams have
Really
struggled.
Well, this is a former luge athlete who's been down the track more than anybody in the field, most of it in luge. Spent 12 years in the luge World Cup circuit.
Ooh, skiddy down at the bottom, can't afford that. 6th fastest and a 12th fastest run,
Doesn't really move up.
51.36.
But she's 800ths out of the tie for 16th between the Belgian and Swiss sled.
Yeah, and Vannieuwenhuyse tied with Sabina Hafner for 16th. We've got a tie
She's
for
like
16th.
1300ths out of 12.
And a tie for 13th.
But she's embarrassed. I'm telling you, the Russian program is just shaking their head there. One Russian guy back there waving a flag.
Well, the Russians are not a team that will say, okay, we're done after day one. We will do all the heats. But Rodionova is not enjoying this at all.
Again, they got their 5th and 6th in World Cup points. I mean, this is a great line here.
7th 3 weeks ago. She should have been looking at a top half dozen result.
18th.
Yeah.
With her teammate crashing out in front of her, she should be in the top 6. And the men's teams, are just as bad. So this is not a good day for Russia.
And you see these mistakes, and this is not a technology thing. It's not runners. It's driving errors.
Another twin.
Second of our Swiss sleds, yes, Martina Fontanive with Rahel Rebsamen, her brakewoman. Martina, 30-year-old from Zurich, interior designer in her first World Championship. And Rahel, possibly, although I haven't asked the girls themselves, the older of the 2 twins.
5:42 start.
That's their fastest of the competition.
Yeah, they had 17th best start yesterday. That's what they just had again. Christoph Langen is coaching the development of the Swiss. Those are good lines there.
I'm getting my twins mixed up. This is Rahel's 2nd ever race in a sled. So the brakewoman...
11.9 is not bad speed.
Brakewoman's done one Europa Cup
She's
start.
leaning on the wrong side. You see that? Yeah. She wasn't sitting in that sled comfortable at all. And you can't ride the sled like a sandbag. You have to feel yourself down the back of that sled down the track. 3rd best speed. That's suspect, that speed down there. I don't know how that 19th best time, 19th best overall, 194. She really hasn't improved.
Well, still learning her art. This is her first ever World Championship appearance, Martina Fontanive. And Rahel Rebsamen, only her 2nd ever race.
Look at the brakeman. She's tucked over to the wrong side. She's not comfortable back there. She's like pulling away. She should be comfortably sitting in there, very relaxed, head in the middle. She was not, again, she's new. But great pictures from the team to show you that those guys in the back just don't jump in and hold on like a sandbag. They got to feel themselves down the track.
penultimate sled, and this is Ying Qing of China with Yuanyuan Ma, her brakewoman. The driver, just 19 years old. 4 career race starts in the North America's Cup. The man in the long coat at the front of the sled, Coach Mani Mahata, knows a thing or two about winning bobsled races, world championships. He's done it on this track. Yuanyuan, the brakewoman, is only 20. And after their first year on ice, they are already in the World Championships. Imagine there's 2 young athletes from China thrown into the bobsleigh world at the start of last season with physical training. What have they been on, like 15 tracks already this season?
Unbelievable. He's taken them to Sigulda, to Oberhof, to Winterberg, Königssee,
you name
Edwin
it.
Van Calker is the other coach. He's got 18 more of them out in Calgary right now. On the way to Lake Placid for 6 more weeks of intensive training. Look at the lines.
Nice exit.
Mahata wasn't very happy when I had some dinner with him on Monday night. When I saw him yesterday, he was beaming from ear to ear. He was very happy with the way his athlete performed. Decent speed. And this is somebody who wasn't on the ice until last year, last January. So for them to come this far, this quick, and for us to watch the opening event from Pyeongchang this morning, the track over there, 4 years from now, we'll be sliding in Beijing. So it's a dawning of a new era here. Manny, you should be happy about that.
51.78, half a second quicker than her first run, 7/10, second quicker than her second run, 7/10 quicker than her first run. Talk about learning acceleration. They've got this 19-year-old girl and thrown her in off the high board into the deep end, and she is swimming.
They have been thrust into the frying pan, and wow, it's unbelievable how far this China team has come. Well, you know, that guy Mahata, I bet you those runners on his sled, he knows a little bit about winning with those runners.
Look at her improvement. She's 7/10 faster on the 3rd heat than she was on the 1st. That's improvement.
China in bobsledding. Wow.
Amazing. And so we get to the 21st and final sled in our 3rd of 4 heats of the Women's Bobsleigh World Championship. And this is our 2nd Japanese duo. Kinomiya Suzu only started driving at the beginning of last year. In the last World Championship appearance she made in Winterberg, she was still a brakewoman. She's been to the Olympic Games as a brakewoman from Minami Hino. And now is driving with Matumi Sakauchi behind her. Sakauchi, 26-year-old in her first season, and Kinomiya Suzu now 30 years old.
Well,
she was also a brakewoman for Maria Oshigiri, who's her co-teammate, her fellow driver in this team.
Again, here's Japan. I mean, they've got a sled in the top 7, right? 7th place. Ooh, big skid there. Watch out. She's got to stop steering, hit the ball, let it straighten out, come into the Kreisel. Consistent line. Don't go down like Mica McNeill did of Great Britain. Come off and don't let the corner dictate to you.
Down the middle of the run.
Yeah. A lot tamer than we saw the track yesterday. Sergeyeva from Russia really had some spectacular crash. They both walked away, from what I hear. They're both going to compete in the team race tomorrow.
Yeah. Russians are made of strong stuff. You can't be a bit of a lightweight in bobsledding. There's far too much hard work, graft, and nitty-gritty goes on. Well, big round of applause for everybody on this track, as ever, from our knowledgeable crowd. And in the crowd there, not only a huge bunch of Belgian school kids, I can see track officials from Altenburg, from Winterberg, all the German track officials, and lots of athletes are here watching. Well, big skid from a Sazu.
Hit. You make a skid, just hit the wall, keep your runners straight, and don't try and steer out of trouble or just compound the mistake. And that's what we saw. But boy, always smile on these two girls.
Yeah. First season as a driver. And she is completed run 3 safely. She is now done for the day, though. We go into the 4th and final heat with the fastest 20. Alana Myers-Taylor and Kerry Jones will be last to go. They have a slender lead of 0.03 of a second. Who's going to win the gold? I'm not going to tell you. There's only one way to find out.
It's like the Olympic Games, you know, in Sochi 3 years ago. Meyers Taylor and Kaylee Humphries will go head-to-head for a world championship title.
And this will be the last 4-heat race before the next Olympic Games. Jamie Greubel poser lies third. Mariama Jamanka, Christina Hengster slipped away. But it's Humphries versus Meyers Taylor for the gold. Alana Meyers Taylor on a 4-race streak in the World Cup and a 3-race streak on this track. She's won the last 2. Can she make it a hat-trick? Or will Kaylee Humphries, the 2015 race winner in December, come back and take victory? It's anybody's race. Our field will go all the way down to Ying Qing of China, and she will be the first to go, because Konomi Asazu and Matsumi Sakauchi of Japan will join the fans on the sidelines. The fast 20 go through to the 4th and final heat as we decide the finishing positions in the 2017 BMW IBSF Women's Bobsleigh World Championships. And the sleds will be back on ice in just under half an hour's time, so stay with us at 16:45 local time for all the action. Join John Morgan, me, Martin Haven, and the rest of the IBSF TV crew. 15:45 Greenwich Mean Time. We'll be back with the deciding runs from the Women's Bobsled World Championships.